Tonight on Alaska's news source, an update from President Trump on his meeting with leaders involved in the war in Ukraine, who he says he's meeting Monday.
Sunny skies take over South Central for summertime temperatures.
Plus, new photos of the aftermath of last weekend's landslide and tsunami in southeast Alaska. And we're checking in with the fair, including the road construction information you need to keep in mind.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will meet with President Donald Trump Monday in Washington, D.C. This comes after yesterday's summit on J-Bear between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. In a press conference right after the two met, President Trump called the meeting extremely productive, and President Putin said he expects the agreements made yesterday are a starting point. Now the two presidents have commented on the summit since they left Alaska. Justin Mattson joins us with their responses.
Yeah, President Putin held a meeting with Kremlin officials today in Moscow. This marks his first comments since appearing alongside Trump yesterday. Go ahead and take a listen.
I would like to note right away that the visit was timely and very useful. We discussed practically all areas of our cooperation, but first and foremost, of course, we talked about a possible resolution of the Ukrainian crisis on a fair basis.
And President Trump posted on Truth Social overnight, saying in part it was a great and very successful day in Alaska, saying he had a late-night phone call with President Zelensky and other European leaders. Trump also said in the post that it was determined by all that the best way to end the horrific war between Russia and Ukraine is to go directly to a peace agreement, which he says would end the war, and not a ceasefire agreement, which he says oftentimes do not hold up. And he said that President Zelensky will be coming to Washington, D.C. on Monday. Trump said if the meeting with Zelensky works out, he will schedule a meeting with Putin, which brings us to this moment from yesterday's press conference in Anchorage following the summit.
So, again, Mr. President, I'd like to thank you very much, and we'll speak to you very soon and probably see you again very soon. Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Next time in Moscow.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I don't know. I'll get a little heat on that one, but I could see it possibly happening.
And this is, of course, a developing story. We're keeping you updated on our website and mobile apps as new information becomes available. Justin Mattson, Alaska's news source.
Girdwood Fire and Rescue spent their Friday rescuing a solo fisherman. The angler was out near Ingram Creek near the Kenai Peninsula sign. Crews were racing against time as the tide was coming in. They say the man was waist deep in the mud. Girdwood Fire and Rescue says by the time they got to the fisherman to safety, the area where he had been was completely underwater. A similar situation happened recently. The Anchorage Fire Department responded to a rescue last week at Ship Creek. APD says the best way to stay safe is to avoid the mudflats completely.
To avoid the mudflats altogether. Areas like the coastal plains and the stream beds and channels are again very dangerous, and they become very unstable very quickly with rapidly rising tides.
He says the mudflats are made up of glacier silt that's brought in by the water and the tides. These areas are solid when undisturbed, but when it becomes wet, it liquefies and compacts around things. And more photos are coming in from last Sunday's landslide and tsunami in southeast Alaska. USGS says preliminary interpretation of photos show the landslide-triggered tsunami went up the hillside at least 100 feet in Tracy Arm, south of Juneau. These are photos of the aftermath from USGS, but also other people who were in the area. The large landslide fell onto South Sawyer Glacier and into the water near it. The National Tsunami Warning Center says the highest wave that was recorded at the Juneau tide gauge was about 14 inches, which is roughly 60 miles from the slide. In an initial estimate, the Alaska Earthquake Center says the landslide was probably larger than 100 million cubic meters, which makes it possibly the largest tsunami and landslide in Alaska since 2015. Now let's check in with Bailey Braun at the Weather Center. Bailey, what's it looking like for the weekend?
Yeah, Michaela, we have a lot to look forward to this weekend. I mean, it's just going to get sunnier tomorrow, and it's been fairly warm. It was warm today, and we also have the state fair going on, so that's another thing that we can look forward to. But just looking at our time lapse today from Ship Creek, you can see the sunrise, and I think it's just so cool seeing the water go up and down. But people are getting out and really enjoying those warmer temperatures, seeing people fishing today. And even for tomorrow with our out-the-door forecast and our photo from Winnie Alexander with the plane chasing the sunset, we do have clearer conditions on the way, so it wasn't super sunny today, but it wasn't really cloudy either. We had some thin layers of clouds moving in, but tomorrow we're just going to see sunnier conditions, and it's going to be warm with highs in the mid to high 60s. But with that sunshine, it comes that warmth. So that's something that everybody can look forward to wrap up the weekend. Now, with our Skycast, we're looking ahead to see those clouds and those thin cloud layers starting to really push out. And then tomorrow, we're going to see that sun starting to peek out just a little bit more in the afternoon, bringing those partly cloudy to mostly sunny conditions for the afternoon. And those highs, like I said, in the mid to high 60s. So that's just something that people can look forward to. But across the state, we're seeing a variety of sky conditions. In Southeast, we're seeing some rainy conditions. Here in South Central, we're seeing mostly sunny conditions for pretty much the entire region. So if you are going to be in Palmer tomorrow for the state fair, just know it's going to be pretty sunny, so you can look forward to that. Maybe wear some sunscreen or wear a hat. But some areas like the interior are seeing some mostly cloudy skies, but seeing less rain and less scattered showers as well. So, Michaela, with that, of course, I have our Brain and Brawn fun fact for today. Now, the fun fact is a two-part fun fact because I like to keep it interesting, and that is that a group of owls is called a parliament, and that owls also don't have eyeballs. They have like cylinder eye tubes, which is a little unsettling, but still, it's kind of cool.
That is a little unsettling, but they are kind of cute.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bailey.
Thanks for listening. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcast from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.